You are now tuned in to Tear Down and Rebuild. Welcome to the Tar Pit. Hey everybody, how you doing? I apologize in advance for my voice. It's kind of going in and out, so hopefully you can hear me. But welcome back, lovelies. And I hope you're having an amazing Sunday night. Today we're going to kind of bounce around in what we're talking about. I want to give you some information I told you I was going to give you about health conditions and the things that I dealt with. I want to get some information to you about self-care and making sure you have self-care days, especially right about now, because we really need it. And just do what I normally do. Just kind of get some information out there. If something hits me as I go, I'll touch on that. A couple of things that I was asked about that I want to touch on first. Somebody asked me about the music that plays at the beginning of my podcast and where it came from. It's mine. I actually created the music for my show, and I have other music that I'm working on and some spoken word pieces that will be out by my birthday, which I'm really excited about. It may sound strange to some of you, but I'm like super excited about my birthday coming up this year because, it's on 5/10/20, which is the first Sunday of the 20th week of the year. And it's not just my birthday, but it's also Mother's Day, and I've got music coming out on that day, so I'm really excited about my born day coming up. But yeah, as far as the person who asked me the question about the music, and I figured I would answer it here just in case somebody else was wondering where that music came from, it's actually mine. I put that together. I've been learning how to use beats and put instruments together, and then I've been getting back into playing keyboards and just trying to get back into music because that was my first love. Music and writing are what I love the most, and creating lotions and soaps and things. Like I'm a creative, as I always tell people. I don't feel as though I was ever meant for, my mom was in the medical field my entire life. My father was a contractor. He went on to be a business owner, like architecture and things. That's like his judge. Like he gets excited when he sees buildings and he's like, if they had done it this way, the structure would have been this way. Like that's his thing. And like my mom, anything medical, she's like all over it. I'm the same way when it comes to music or when it comes to writing. I'm that way when it comes to art, as in looking at art. I'm not that way when it comes to drawing, because when it comes to like painting and drawing, I have no talent in that area whatsoever. All of the painting and drawing talent went straight to my oldest daughter. My youngest daughter can draw, she just doesn't, but my oldest daughter is like phenomenal with it. So I don't have that skill, but I do have skills when it comes to music and when it comes to blending oils and creating. Like I have that talent. So that's what I love to do in my spare time, and I want to make it to where it's no longer just my spare time, but it is what I do all the time. And for any of you who are listening to me, we're all stuck in the house, unable to go places. We're trying to, stick with social distancing so we can get through this a lot faster. And while you are in your homes, think about the things that you love and that you're passionate about. And can you turn it into something that is your full-time something? Like, can you turn it into a business? Is it something you can make money at? Is it something that you can really do well and grow at? Because, I'm big on small businesses and helping out where I can with small businesses. Once my radio show goes live, which should be starting next week, I want to every single morning when I do morning motivation show. I want to be able to shout out at least two small businesses every morning so that, we can start helping each other to build and to grow. We have so much talent in our own small communities and so much, or rather, so many like amazing people and just so much love. And there's so many hard workers, and there's just such a beautiful community of people. I've been connecting with some of the most amazing people here as of late on my Facebook page and follow me on Instagram. Like, there's just so many amazing, beautiful, genuine people out there who are, they're creating oils and they sell crystals. And, I even have become really close to a woman who she has a clothing line that, in my opinion, looks better than anything I've ever seen come down a runway. Just amazing skill, beautiful clothing. And, we've got to do better at supporting our smaller businesses and supporting each other and supporting within our communities. We have the ability to do it. Anything that you can find anywhere else, you can find it right within your own community. You really can. We're just so stuck on bigger names that we don't want to give an opportunity to the smaller business. But those bigger names didn't start off as those bigger names. Like, Gucci didn't fall out the gate just being Gucci. It started as a small business and it grew. So let's help put some new small businesses out there and help them grow. And really kind of back our smaller communities, help them build, and throw your hat in the ring. You don't just support the business. If you have a business, put it out there. You have an idea, do something with it, make it grow. You have something that can help the next person. Let's get out here and really, really do it. And now that I've gone on that rant that had nothing to do with anything, let's get back to what I came here for in the first place. So, not my last podcast, but the podcast before, I told you that I was actually going to kind of give a little more detail to what I was talking about when it came to health conditions and the reason why I don't particularly trust and or use Western medicine. Now, if you have no clue what I'm talking about, like I said, it's not the last podcast, but the podcast before. You can go back and grab them. Go back and listen to all of them. But go back and grab that one so you have more of an understanding of how we got here. So this all started when I was very, very young. My parents used to take me to a pediatrician named Dr. Gray. And Dr. Gray was like a real cool doctor. He really understood dealing with children, and my parents trusted him. He was a private pediatrician, so that was one of the things they absolutely loved. I didn't have to go and see different doctors every time I went in. I saw Dr. Gray. I saw nobody else but Dr. Gray. I actually remember the last time I saw him. I was like 6 or 7, and he had to give me some shots. And he used to do this thing where he would always tell me, if this shot, if it hurts, you can hit me. Or if it hurts, I'll buy you. He used to have this light switch. It was the placard that went around the light switch, and it looked like Snoopy, and like Snoopy's little red doghouse. And as a little kid, it was like the coolest thing to me ever. And I know one time I went in and he was like, if this hurts, I could have it. Well, of course, he didn't give me the one clean off the wall. He actually did, however, buy me a real cool little thing to put on my light switch from my bedroom at home. And he had told me he had to give me these shots. And he was like, if the shot hurts, you can punch me in the arm. And I guess he figured because at the time I was, like I said, I was probably 6 years old. I didn't really, how much damage could I do at 6 hitting him in the arm? What he didn't know though was that I've had hands for years. So when he gave me the shot, I swung off and punched him in the arm. He actually said his arm hurt for a few hours. But that shot hurt. But Dr. Gray was a really cool doctor, and whenever he thought something was wrong, he would make sure to let my parents know that, listen, there's something happening here. I can't say what right now. It's very, this is unusual or whatever the case may be. He would make house calls when most doctors had stopped making house calls. And he was the doctor who noticed that as I was getting older, whereas I should have solid bone in certain parts of my body, it was actually soft like gristle, and they could not figure out why it seemed like my bones weren't hardening. And that was the first sign that something was off, but they couldn't put their fingers on it. And as I got older, I didn't seem to have any problems at the time. And then when I was about 10 or 11, I had to be taken in to see a different doctor, because at this point in time, we started off, we were living in Ohio at the time. By the time I was 9 and a half, we had gone back to stay in New York because that's where my grandparents were still at. And we ended up staying there permanently. I didn't leave New York after that again until I was almost 21. But I went to go and see a doctor by the name of Dr. Richter. And, her and my mom were really cool. And she had been telling, my mother had been telling her that, my doctor, Dr. Gray, had been keeping an eye on it. I seemed to be doing perfectly fine, but, my bones didn't develop as the way they were supposed to and things like that. And I had some soft spots, and they just wanted to watch out for it. And I started having like weird pains. And I say weird because it's not like I would just wake up and, oh, I'm in pain. It would be like I would, because I'm a kid, so I'm running or I'm playing, I would walk from the beginning, head of the driveway down to the end of the driveway. By the time I got to the end of the driveway, it sounded like it was a long driveway, I would have like stabbing pain in my back. And my grandmother, she was, old school, like original old school. Oh, you don't have a back. Yeah, I do. And it hurts. And I kept telling my mom, I was like, that really hurt. Like, it hurts. Or I would have these moments where I would go in the kitchen, I'd go to open up a simple drawer, something that typically if you put too much effort into it, the drawer would go flying clean out of the cabinet. And I would go to try to pull on things, and it would really feel like somebody had my arm in a vice grip and they were trying to break it. So I had gotten to where I couldn't stand opening up like my dresser drawers or kitchen drawers because I knew there was pain coming behind me trying to simply just open up a drawer. So my mom took me back to Dr. Richter, and Dr. Richter checked me out. And initially she was like, she didn't see anything wrong. Now that is the interesting thing about the condition that I have. A lot of times it will hide and no one will know there's anything going on. So it would take them another year and a half before they would find out that I actually even had a condition. And what caused them to even look was, well, partially my mother's agitation with the fact that things were happening to me and it seemed like nobody was doing anything. But I distinctly remember we were at my grandparents' house and they had a 3-story house. And we were helping my godmother lived on the 3rd floor, and we were helping her take groceries up to her apartment. And as we were taking stuff up to the apartment, it seemed like every time I would have to go from the outside up to the 3rd floor, each time I had